Have you ever watched your child completely fall apart because their favorite shirt is in the wash? Or because you ask them to put away a toy? You feel that sting in your chest, the panic, the guilt, the silent question. Why is this happening again? Am I failing them? You're not alone. Every day, parents like us wake up walking on eggshells, never sure what might trigger the next meltdown, wondering if our child will ever be able to handle the real world without falling apart. I've been there, more times than I'd like to admit. Maybe you've tried parenting books that sound great in theory, but go blank the second your kids start screaming in the grocery store, or you've spent hundreds, maybe thousands on therapy sessions that helped for a week before everything slid back into chaos. Or maybe you've followed advice from well-meaning family members who just say he needs more discipline, only to watch things get worse. But what if I told you the reason your child can't handle stress isn't because he's too sensitive or because you're doing something wrong? It's because your child is missing something called emotional scaffolding. Think of it like this. When builders put up a skyscraper, they don't just stack bricks and hope it stays upright. They install scaffolding, temporary support structures that allow the building to rise safely and steadily. Your child's emotional world is the same. But here's the problem. Most kids today are missing this emotional scaffolding. It's like trying to build a house with no foundation. Everything collapses under pressure. This creates what researchers call an emotional scaffolding gap. So when your child faces stress without that foundation, their brain panics. They can't name what they're feeling. They don't know how to calm down, and they have no clue how to bounce back. So they melt down again and again. And no sticker chart, timeout, reward system, or toughen up conversation is ever going to fix that, because none of those things build the foundation. Even more concerning, research from Harvard Center on the Developing Child shows that over half of all children struggle to naturally develop emotional regulation without intentional scaffolding from adults. The result? Public meltdowns that leave you feeling helpless, instant shutdowns at the first sign of struggle, worry that spirals into sleepless nights, a child who avoids challenges instead of growing from them, and stress that spreads to every member of your family. But the good news is, this gap can be filled, and once it is, everything starts to change. Your child's meltdowns aren't personality flaws, and they're not your failure. What they need isn't discipline, they need a framework, a system, something that supports them from the inside out. That's why I use what I call the emotional scaffolding system. It works exactly like the support beams on a building, except instead of holding up concrete, it holds up your child's emotional growth. With the right scaffolding in place, kids don't just avoid meltdowns, they learn how to handle disappointment, frustration, and change without falling apart. And here's how that structure works. Step by step, emotionally resilient children build 4 foundational skills. They recognize emotional triggers early, before a meltdown even starts. They implement calming tools that help them regulate their nervous system. They support themselves or ask for help during tough moments. And they empower themselves to recover with confidence. That's the logic behind what I call the RISE method. And it's the philosophy that guides every phase of the Fostering Resilience Parents Guide. That means everything inside is designed to help you. Recognize emotional triggers early, implement calming tools effectively, support your child through tough moments, and empower them to recover with confidence. The best part? It doesn't take hours each day or years in therapy. According to Harvard Center on the Developing Child, just 15-20 minutes a day of focused emotional coaching during early childhood can lay down the neural architecture for lifelong self-regulation. And Stanford's research into stress mindsets and cognitive resilience found that children who received scaffolded emotional instruction showed 40% fewer symptoms of anxiety, 3 times improvement in stress handling, and a measurable increase in flexible, growth-based thinking patterns. Why? Because these kids aren't being taught to behave better. They're being taught how to bounce back better. So when stress shows up, they don't collapse. They regulate, recover, and rise. That's the power of emotional scaffolding. And with the right tools, you can start building it in your child starting today. Let me be completely honest with you. I'm not a psychologist, I don't have a PhD in child development, and I'm definitely not a parenting influencer with perfect kids and picture-perfect answers. I'm just a father. A father who once sat on the bathroom floor at 7 a.m. watching his 6-year-old son Max sob uncontrollably because the right socks weren't clean, and felt completely lost. A father who tried the therapy sessions, read the books, followed the gentle parenting blogs, and still felt like he was failing. And if you've ever felt that pit in your stomach, like you should know what to do, but you don't, I've been there. That's what pushed me to dig deeper, not into quick tips or Pinterest hacks, but into real science. I started combing through peer-reviewed studies from places like Harvard, Stanford, and the University of Minnesota. That's when everything clicked. Dr. Ann Maston calls resilience ordinary magic, not a rare trait, but a skill built through daily emotional coaching. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child shows that the brain is primed for emotional development during early childhood, especially when parents provide consistent support and scaffolding. And Stanford's research on stress mindset reveals how kids can learn to reinterpret stress as a challenge, not a threat, and build emotional muscle in just weeks, not years. These weren't parenting hacks. They were real answers backed by neuroscience. So I started applying those principles with my son Max, and within 2 months, he began telling me how he felt instead of screaming. He calmed himself when frustrated. He even started trying again after failing without shutting down. It was like watching a fog lift. The family noticed, teachers noticed, friends asked what we were doing, and I realized it wasn't because I had special training or magic words. It was because I'd built him a framework, a system, a scaffold for his emotions to grow stronger. I didn't invent the science. I just turned it into something real-world parents could finally use, something built not from perfection, but from desperation, love, and evidence that works. So, imagine this for just a moment. What if your mornings didn't start with stress? What if bedtime didn't feel like emotional warfare? What if you could actually look forward to family getaways, school days, or dinner without holding your breath, just waiting for the next meltdown? Imagine your child facing a challenge, getting frustrated, but instead of falling apart, they pause, take a breath, and try again. It's not a fantasy. It's not reserved for easy kids or perfect families. It's what happens when you give your child the scaffolding they've been missing all along. And when that happens, you don't just fix the meltdowns. You create calm where there was chaos, connection where there was conflict, confidence where there was self-doubt. And no, this doesn't take years of therapy. You don't need to be a superhero parent. You just need the right system, the right tools, and a decision to act while this window is still wide open. That's why I built what I'm about to share with you. A way forward, not just for your child, but for your entire family. That's why I created something called the Fostering Resilience Parent's Guide. It's a step-by-step system that helps you build the emotional strength your child has been missing, right from home and in just 15 minutes a day. This isn't a parenting theory, and it's not another guilt-loaded lecture on everything you're doing wrong. It's a real-world guide for parents who love their kids deeply and just want a clear path forward. At the heart of this system is the RISE method, a science-backed approach to emotional scaffolding that helps your child recognize their emotional triggers early, implement calming tools that actually work, support their growth without rescuing every time, and empower themselves to bounce back stronger after tough moments. And instead of just teaching this theory, I've broken it down into a clear 6-phase roadmap. The 6 phases of the Fostering Resilience Parent's Guide. Phase 1, you'll lay the groundwork, creating space, routines, and a plan that sets your child up for success. Phase 2, you will discover your child's stress triggers and learn how to respond with structure and safety. Phase 3, where you will learn to apply emotional tools in real time with small, consistent practices that build confidence. Phase 4, you'll watch as your child begins using emotional tools on their own, handling tough moments with new independence. Phase 5, you'll embed calming and bounce-back practices into everyday family life, no overhauls required. And Phase 6, where you will build long-term systems that help your child and your home stay strong for the years ahead. Each of these phases comes with a powerful tool I haven't seen anywhere else: your 6 implementation workbooks. These aren't filler PDFs. These are methodically crafted guides with reflective prompts to help you grow as a parent, word-for-word tools to use with your child in emotional moments, practice exercises, scripts, and step-by-step walkthroughs, and the templates you'll rely on when things get tough. Now, this is important. It isn't about being perfect. It's about having a plan and finally feeling like you're building something real. You're not just reacting anymore. You're scaffolding your child's emotional future with confidence. So you might be wondering, how much does a system like this cost? Let's be honest. Building emotional resilience in the traditional way isn't cheap. A few months of therapy for your child? That's easily $3,000 to $5,000. And that doesn't include the time, the wait lists, or the fact that progress often resets the minute you walk out of the therapist's office. And let me be clear, I'm not against therapy. It helped us, but it's not always enough. What I wanted was a way to put lasting tools in the hands of parents, so that when those emotional moments happen, you don't freeze, you don't fumble, you know exactly what to do. So I started building a system packed with everything I wish we had when we were struggling. Here's exactly what you'll get when you enroll today. What's inside the Fostering Resilience Parents Guide? The full 6-phase video training, bite-sized lessons designed for busy parents, each one building your skills layer by layer. This has a value of $997. 6 printable implementation workbooks, packed with reflection prompts, tools, and exercises that help you apply what you learn immediately, with a $385 value. Emotional regulation scripts and scenario tools. No more guesswork in the heat of the moment. You get clear, calming words to say when things get tough. Valued at $147. Resilience routine builder templates. Design calm down spaces, bounce back plans, and family rituals with done-for-you templates. $97 value. And parent progress trackers and check-in maps. Simple tools to track your child's growth and your wins as a parent. $67 value. That's over $1,600 in total value. But you're not going to pay that. Not $1,600, not $500, not even $200. Right now, for a limited time, you can get lifetime access to the entire Fostering Resilience Parents Guide for just $147. That's less than a single therapy session, for a system that could change your child's life. And for you, it's the peace of mind of finally knowing, I've got this. I know what to do. I'm not going to tell you this offer is only available to the next 100 parents. I'm not going to pretend the price doubles tomorrow or that spots are magically vanishing. But what is real, what actually matters, is time. Because if you have an older toddler, a preschooler, or an early elementary child, you're in what scientists call a developmental sweet spot. Their brain is forming emotional patterns right now that will shape how they handle stress, failure, frustration, and conflict for the rest of their lives. What they practice during this window becomes what they default to for years to come. And here's the tough truth. Most parenting advice doesn't mention the longer these patterns of avoidance, meltdowns, or shutdowns are repeated, the harder they are to change later. Not impossible, but a lot harder. Because what your child is doing today, those reactions, those outbursts, that anxiety, they're practicing how to respond to life, and practice makes permanent. That's why this matters right now. The Fostering Resilience Parents Guide gives you the tools, the scripts, the structure, so that what your child practices today builds strength, not fragility. So click the button below. Don't wait until another meltdown leaves you feeling helpless. Don't wait until their confidence shrinks even more. Let's build the skills that will carry them through not just childhood, but life. Now, here's what makes this system really work. Because learning concepts is great, but change happens through action. That's why when you join the Fostering Resilience Parents Guide, you're not just getting lessons. You're getting 6 meticulously designed implementation workbooks, one for each phase of your journey. These aren't fluff, they're your roadmap. Here they are. Workbook 1. Welcome to the Resilience Adventure. Build your plan, set up a supportive environment, and lay the foundation for lasting change. Workbook 2. Emotional Awareness and Adaptive Support. Identify your child's stress signals and tailor your support to help them feel safe and understood. Workbook 3, Practicing Resilience in Daily Life. Apply bite-sized emotional tools in everyday moments, without pressure, without overwhelm. Workbook 4, Reinforcing Emotional Mastery. Turn setbacks into bounce-backs. Help your child try again, self-soothe, and grow through challenges. Workbook 5, Creating Everyday Resilience Routines. Embed resilience into your mornings, your bedtime, your daily rhythm, so it becomes second nature. And Workbook 6, Embedding Resilience into Daily Life. Create systems that last, so your child doesn't just grow temporarily, but thrives for life. Each workbook includes reflective prompts to help you grow alongside your child, templates, scripts, and trackers to reduce daily stress, real-world practice scenarios, guided action steps that bring the tools to life. When paired with the training, these workbooks become more than workbooks. They become your blueprint for calm, connection, and confidence. And they're all included at no extra cost when you enroll today. Now, I know what you might be thinking. But what if this doesn't work for my child? And that's fair, because as parents, we've all tried things that promised change, but didn't deliver. That's why this isn't about some flashy 30-day money-back guarantee. This is about something more important, the developmental window you're in right now. The real guarantee is this moment, because the earlier you intervene, when your child is still learning how to feel, cope, and respond, the stronger that foundation becomes. And here's what I can promise you. If you follow this system, watch the trainings, use the tools, do the work, you will see change. Not because I'm some expert with all the answers, but because this framework is based on how emotional strength is actually built, through consistent, supported practice at the right time in development. And that time is now. So no, I don't offer a refund, but I do offer something better: the tools, the structure, the science, and the chance to finally feel confident in how you guide your child through emotional storms. This isn't about trying something new, it's about building something that is lasting. Here's what most parents don't realize. Emotional responses aren't just reactions, they're habits. And whatever your child is doing right now, meltdowns, shutdowns, avoidance, that's not random. It's a pattern they're repeating, a pattern that's becoming automatic. The brain wires itself around repetition. So every time your child practices panic instead of pause, every time they explode instead of express, they're reinforcing a response that becomes harder to change over time. That's why time is the real urgency here. Research shows that in early childhood, the brain is especially flexible, making it the ideal time to shape emotional responses and build resilience with the right tools. But that window doesn't stay open forever. By the time a child is finishing elementary school and hits middle school, emotional defaults have often become emotional identities. I'm just bad at stress. I can't handle it. I'm too sensitive. And undoing those beliefs is much more difficult and takes years longer. So, if your child is still young, if you're still seeing those signs of struggle, this is your moment. The Fostering Resilience Parents Guide was built for exactly this reason. Because when your child builds healthy emotional habits now, they don't have to unlearn toxic ones later. And that makes everything easier, not just now, but for the rest of their life. At this point, you've got 3 clear paths in front of you. Option 1. Hope it gets better on its own. You keep doing what you've been doing, trying to stay calm through meltdowns, hoping your child grows out of it. But deep down, you know those emotional habits aren't just phases. They're patterns being rehearsed every day, and the longer they're practiced, the more permanent they become. Option 2. Piece it together alone. You could spend hours piecing together parenting advice, reading another book, listening to another podcast, scrolling through TikTok or Pinterest for behavior charts. But without a clear, consistent structure, it's easy to get overwhelmed, and even easier to give up when things don't work instantly. You're trying, but you're still guessing and improvising. Option 3. Follow a proven plan that works in 15 minutes a day. You get the Fostering Resilience Parents Guide and follow a system that gives you structure, science, and confidence. You stop reacting to outbursts and start preventing them. You guide your child through emotional moments with calm, not confusion. And you become the steady, secure presence your child needs to grow into someone who doesn't crumble under stress, but rises through it. You've already taken the first step by being here. The next step, choosing the path that actually solves the problem, not just manages it. Let me leave you with this. This isn't just about meltdowns. It's not about fewer tantrums or easier bedtimes. It's about who your child becomes, the kind of confidence they carry into the world, the way they handle stress, rejection, setbacks, and still stand back up. I created the Fostering Resilience Parents Guide not to fix your child, but to give you the tools to build the strength you already see in them. You've already done the hardest part. You've shown up with love, patience, and a desire to help. Now you just need a map. So here's what you're getting. The full 6-phase training system. The 6 implementation workbooks to make it real. All the emotional scripts, resilience routines, and progress tools, all designed to turn effort into growth and intention into lasting change. And you're not paying $3,000 for therapy, not $1,500 for a family coach, not even $500 for an expert seminar. Today, you get everything for just $147, a one-time investment in your child's emotional future for less than a single session with a specialist. So click the button below to enroll now. Let's give your child the tools they need to grow stronger, calmer, and more resilient every single day. P.S. Every day you wait is another day your child rehearses emotional patterns that may not serve them. Start today so they can grow strong and resilient tomorrow.